Just kidding.
All right.
Cameras make you nervous? Just
No,
kidding.
no, not now, not to this point.
The blink, I don't know if it would record the whole conversation, but I will send this to Rhett and Victoria and they can be inspired. But Caleb, we're glad to have you. No one ever knows who's coming the first Wednesday of each month for our full team meeting. And I called them the local celebrities, and Terry, I think, said, what makes them a celebrity? I said, well, they're fairly well known in the community. And I start naming all the company of great speakers who've come, and they are fairly well known, like you, in the community. So I like to say the local celebrity Devo leader. Why don't we, just for fun, why don't we go around the circle and tell us something about yourself that you would consider, or others consider, a quirk about you?
Others consider a quirk about
Or you know as a quirk, something funny that you do that...
Where are we starting?
It is a free-for-all starting now. If you had a quirk,
This was a popcorn.
a funny idiosyncrasy or a tick that people tease you about.
Does an accent count?
Huh?
Does an accent count?
Yeah.
That would be a quirk if you're in Manhattan and we call Terry cornbread.
I get teased from time to time for just my one ha when I laugh.
Carol she has this thing she
Hey,
does.
wait a minute. You have 43 years, so next.
I think it's really cute what Carol does when we're in conversation.
Next.
And she says something really
It's
funny.
not.
She says something really funny. She'll lean in and go, and she doesn't even know she does it.
Yeah.
Well, we all know now that she does it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
When I eat food, I don't like for any of my food to touch, and I eat items one at a time.
You're one of those people. I've heard about that. But
Take
I've
it.
never-
I've heard about that. She said it like it's a
I've
disease.
never-
We're rare, but we're out there.
Okay, but what order do you go in?
I usually try to, the thing I want to eat the most, I save for last.
Okay, because my quirk is backwards. I do it the opposite way.
No.
Does that mean you have the?
I eat the thing that I like the most so that I get the most of it. Because if I wait till the end,
Yeah.
I'm going
But
to be
does that
full
mean
and
you're
then I'm not
left with
going
the
to want
taste of the thing you want the least?
No, because I don't ever get something that I don't like. So,
Makes sense.
So his quirk is his mama spoiled him really bad, and he can be a picky eater. So says Samantha.
I mean, I get to be a picky eater.
You were allowed to be.
I choose to be a picky eater.
So is that your quirk?
Sure.
Well, if we're talking about food quirks, I also have to clean my plate, and I literally am like getting every little crumb.
I do bites and I go in a circle, and so I finish everything at the same time. That's my food quirk.
I like that.
I'm gonna have to pay more attention.
It's like an OCD group.
It does.
Because
Yeah.
I don't like my fork to touch the table at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
I will put a napkin underneath. I'll tear my napkin in half so I can have half on my lap and half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maddie, what is your quirk?
Quirk.
So
What?
What is quirk? Is it
A habit or
Yeah.
Like a funny habit.
yeah.
Yeah, funny.
Or
idiosyncrasy.
That won't translate well.
Yeah, you spell out idiosyncrasy.
Yes. I was waiting. I was watching you.
I know, I didn't realize I did it for years, and Victoria pointed out fairly recently when I have a long sleeve shirt on, when I sit down to eat a meal, this is funny how our quirks are all, a lot of them are food related. I'll go like this, and the idea is, I'm praising the Lord, yes, for food, but I go like this to try and get my cuffs out of the way so I don't hang, but I've never really gotten my cuffs in my food. It goes way back. You know what I'm talking about? I go like that. She says, Dad, why are you doing that? I'm like, to get my sleeves out of the way of my food, and I look, there's my sleeves. Anyway, I think that's weird.
It's really weird when you do it with short sleeve shirt on.
I don't do it with a short sleeve shirt.
She's like,
She
you
just
think.
did
You think.
Did she?
What about you,
it.
Paul?
Did you even notice that you just did? You went.
Wow.
How about you, Parker? What's your?
I don't know. I've been thinking. I might have to probably tell you something.
Do you have any, I don't want to use the word superstitions as a baseball player, but do you have anything you do going up to bat, or do you have to wear your hat a certain way? Baseball players are,
I mean,
no.
it's not like I have to wear my hat a certain way or I'm going to do bad. It's just like if my hat's crooked, it drives me crazy. I think that's with everybody, but like if my hat's just kind of like that.
So does that mess up your swing?
No, I don't think it just messes with my brain, I guess.
But
It just bothers me.
Is there something you do before a game, or is there a pair of underwear you have to wear? I mean, I've heard that.
Clean,
I've heard it was
preferably.
No.
So you're not superstitious?
I'm not, no.
No.
You know Deion Sanders, when he played for the Braves, you know what he used to do when he walked up to the home plate?
Probably heard of it.
Huh?
I probably heard
Yeah,
of it.
he would draw a dollar sign. See, he worshiped money at the time, but not anymore. He's got a great testimony. But he would draw a dollar sign every single at bat. Pitchers are the worst because you pitch some too, right? Pitchers are the worst for having superstitions and things they do. But
Nomar Garciaparra. Do you remember what he did batting? It was so weird. He had this little funky thing that he would do every time. It was so weird.
Yeah.
You have, after every pitch, you have a thing that you go through. You don't notice it, but you do.
That reminds. Have you seen the Hank Aaron movie? Came out
huh?
years
With
ago.
Chadwick
42. I'm sorry.
With Chadwick Boseman, didn't he play Hank Aaron?
I
The
don't
guy
know.
from Black Panther.
Oh yes,
Is that the same movie you're thinking?
yes. It
I'll
was.
have to watch it.
It was good.
I got to watch Hank play when I was a boy.
Did you?
We lived in Atlanta in 1966 when the Braves came to town
Yeah.
and the Falcons, and I actually got to watch Hammer and Hank play in person.
Nice. Watch it. It's so good.
What's the name of the movie? Hank?
42.
Oh, 42.
Yeah.
Is that your quirk that you can remember baseball players' numbers?
Oh no, I had to like
Movie.
embed that in my brain. No, I'm a yay sports person.
Well, if nobody has any other quirks,
42.
I was like, I think we have
Caleb, tell us.
I think we have a lot. There's just
We
not.
would be sitting here for
I
the
mean,
like
there's just not as much transparency
share.
going on in some of our team members as you have revealed with others.
Parker, can you go to the house with me today? I'm going to build a dog house.
All over me.
I was
So-
gonna say,
Caleb, why don't you take a few minutes to tell us a little bit about yourself and then share whatever the Lord's put on your heart.
Gosh, what do y'all want to know about me?
Nothing.
Celebrate my 20-year wedding anniversary in July. Got 3 kids.
20th?
20th.
Congratulations. When in July?
The 24th.
That's right, day before ours.
Yeah.
Ours, 25th.
So I'll be celebrating on a phone call with my wife while I'm in Boston and she's at home.
Oh, we've had plenty of mission
Yeah.
trips over our anniversary where we've been sleeping in the gymnasium. He's on one side.
Well, I would like to do that. This would just be a really large gymnasium that separates us by about 16 hours. So From Mississippi originally. I've been here in Raven County for 5 years now. Almost 5.5 actually. Been in ministry for 20 years. And love my job. Love my life. Tell people living the dream, just trying to not screw it up.
That's quotable.
So, that's it.
And you're a twin?
I'm an identical twin. The youngest of 4.
Does
You
your
know, we're
identical
identical. He's 8 minutes older.
Does your identical twin actually look like you?
Not
Used
so
to.
much anymore. We used to, yeah. Yeah. Just different personalities cause us to we dress differently, we live differently, and wear our hair, our beard different. And he's got glasses. I got mine fixed, so I don't wear them anymore. So a lot of things combine together to where no, not really, but.
I just had a thought that's never gone through my brain before. Inspired by you. Do identical twins' kids, first cousins, tend to look really similar?
No. If you look at Parker and look at
They're genetically half siblings,
Mm-hmm.
but no, I don't look that similar.
So my twin brother, his oldest is just 2 weeks older than Parker. They were born 2 weeks apart, and what's crazy is everybody says he looks a lot like what my brother did when he was younger, and Parker looks just like me. You lucky dog.
Oh, but you do, really.
Were you
When I was that age. But here's the
I
thing:
think-
he and my nephew look nothing alike. Nothing
So
alike.
that answered that question in my head then.
Yeah. So it's weird because you can see my brother and my nephew, and you can see a lot of Parker and me, but they don't look anything alike.
I watched this thing on maybe it's public television where they took marbles, and the marbles, different colored marbles, represent DNA in a particular person. And you think you got a black guy and a white woman, and they get married, and you're going to take 50% black marbles and 50% white marbles, and you're going to pour them, and you're going to have a perfectly mixed kid. And it's no further from the truth than anything. It's God's design, and the marbles come from all over. And we have some folks we know in South Georgia. They have a girl, and there was no hanky panky going on. They have a daughter. Her name is Tiffany.
How'd they have a daughter if there was no hanky panky?
Well, there was no adultery.
I'm kidding.
No adultery going on.
And the dad is white, the mom is white, and they have this daughter, and she looks maybe a little Mexican or Native American.
She seriously looks like she was adopted. She does not look like the rest
And
of the
she's not
family.
foster,
She
not
is-
adopted kid, but
Yeah.
it's almost like
Wow.
when they had that child, these random marbles out of all these different jars representing the DNA, just a few of them got thrown in, and all of a sudden, so I guess it's not an obvious thing that the sons of twins are going to look alike, and yet I've got a cousin, first cousin. He's about 6 or 7 years older than me, and I was rock climbing at a youth camp, and there was there's a youth group from Jacksonville, Florida, and we were in Tifton, that came to this same camp, Crossroads, and these high school girls were looking at me, just scratching their head, and they were like, "You look exactly like a teacher that we have." And I said, "Well, where are y'all from?" They said, "Jacksonville, Florida." They said, "Actually, Jacksonville Beach." I was like, in my head, I'm going, this is about to get really weird. I said, "Wow, what's your teacher's name?" And they said, "Dan Holloway." And you could be his slightly younger brother. And I said, "That's interesting because I have a first cousin named Dan Holloway, and he's a teacher at Fletcher High School." And these girls about
All
screaming
screamed.
themselves off the mountain. We were rock climbing.
They're like, "That's him."
So you almost killed all of them. With that
With
Just
his-
by telling them.
With his looks.
if looks could kill.
Y'all are flirting so hard this morning. So hard.
So you are a twin, 8 minutes younger. Older.
8 minutes
I'm
younger.
younger.
I'm younger. 8 minutes younger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's one thing you would tell all of us about being a twin that we probably would never realize or appreciate? Would you say you're close?
I'm closer to him than any of my siblings.
Is the legend true that you can think thoughts and he's had the same thought miles away?
He's saying no right now, so.
Oh. That's the
Says
answer.
no right now.
So the
Not
answer
to my
is yes.
knowledge. Not to my knowledge. No, we've never had. Believe it or not, for being identical twins, we are a lot different. We're a lot different.
Is he born again?
He would say no. I mean, I would say no based off of fruit, so. Yeah.
That'd be pretty different.
Yep. No, I'm the only one out of all these that's saved or would profess
Wow.
it. So,
Wow. Well, we're glad to have you today and share what's on your heart.
all right. So I was in a meeting last night. Hopefully there's less of those in the next however many months, but we were meeting together with our what I call our dream team, our folks that have been helping us walk through the expansion process of the church. And started off by saying, about 12 months ago or about a year ago, we started walking through this process, and one of the guys there said, actually it was about 15 months ago. I said, wow, okay. I realized that some things are so good that it's okay to wait and to take time before you jump right into it. There's a saying, I don't know if y'all have heard it before, and I never heard of who coined the phrase, but it's, so I was researching that. It's anything worth doing is worth doing right. Y'all ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
So the guy that said that, his name's Hunter Thompson. He was a, you call him, he was a writer or a reporter or whatever, and he coined that phrase. And one of the things about him, he infiltrated a biker gang called the Hells Angels for a year and was writing a story on them. And in this process, even through the whole thing, he believed so much in what he was doing and that he wanted to put a good product out that he at one point said, I couldn't tell anymore if I was still writing a story or if I was becoming part of the story I'm writing. And even to the point where it was so real that he made a comment one time when he saw one of the Hells Angels beating his wife and his dog, and he made a comment about only a fool beats us, or only a punk or something like that. Well, he ended up getting jumped and beaten by the Hells Angels. But his motto was, anything that's worth doing is worth doing right. And I thought about that. We're going through a series through the book of Nehemiah right now at church, and Lance is preaching Sunday, and he's going to be talking about Nehemiah chapter 2. And I don't want to take anything away from what he's going to say if y'all are going to watch it, but I haven't even seen his notes yet, so I don't even know if he's going to. He's emailed it to me. I haven't opened it. But one of the things that starts off at the end of chapter 1, Nehemiah is praying for God to use him and to be in a conversation he's wanting to have with the king, because he has realized that his home place is in disarray. It's been destroyed. It lies in ruins. And he ends his prayer with saying, give this man a favor today. He says, give success to your servant today and grant him mercy in the sight of this man, which is the king. But the very next verse, it says, 4 months later, I approached the king. And you have to stop and think, well, what in the world, why did you wait 4 months? Well, anything worth doing is worth doing right. if you're going to come before the presence of somebody that has every bit of the authority to grant whatever you're wanting to do, what you don't want to do is go to that person unprepared. You know, part of our process we're hoping to Sunday is to kick off our campaign for expansion. Well, before we ever got to that point, we wanted to make sure that if we're going to do it, we're going to cross all our T's and dot all our I's, try to answer every question that may be asked, try to be able to explain the vision that God's given to us. And what I thought would take a couple months, we're at 15 months now into that, and still waiting on a meeting tomorrow to go well for all of that to go how we need it to. And the whole time it's been like, all right, I'm ready, you know, and thankfully God's put people in our in my leadership circle there at the church that have been reminding me, Caleb, it's okay, anything we're doing is worth doing right. And we want to make sure we do it right when we start. The name of y'all's business is Property Stewards. We finished a series on stewardship right before we started this series, and reminding ourselves that everything we have is God's, and that we are just stewards of it. We're not owners of it. So as a steward, we are called to manage what He's given us for the edification or benefit of others, specifically the church as believers, but also for God's glory. So everything we do is to be done for the glory of God.
Amen.
So with this, Nehemiah goes to the king. He's called before the king, and then he starts presenting the king. He's ready. Whatever questions the king's going to ask, he's ready to present it. And even after he gets to the place where he's going, it was a 700-mile journey after he goes, he still waits 3 days after getting there before he actually goes out and surveys all of those. He's never been there before. He's had a heart for this land that he's never seen. They've been in captivity for 160 years. Well, they were actually let go. He's been there for, or the ones that have never went back, 160 years of them being out of Jerusalem. He being born in the Babylonian kingdom, has never been home. And when he gets there, instead of jumping right in, he takes 3 days. And I'm sure it's to pray. I'm sure it's to probably seek wisdom. And then he goes out and he surveys everything. Because anything worth doing is worth doing right. Now that's a phrase by Hunter Thompson, a guy that, according to his biography, didn't look like he lived a very godly life. But I don't ever want to assume. I can only go by what somebody's story is and see is there any fruit for that. God's the person that judges each person. But there's another verse, or there's a verse in the Bible in 1 Corinthians that says, so whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. And I think that goes right along. Of course, the background of that verse is talking about those that are eating and doing things that other Christians or other new believers may see as wrong. And Paul's saying, listen, there's a mixture of y'all together. Some come from a Greek background, some from a Jewish background. Some of you, it's okay to eat this thing, others it's not because of the history. The most important thing is not whatever you're eating, whatever you're drinking, it's whatever you're doing. If you're doing it for God's glory, then that's what you need to be doing it for. In life, when we are called to do things for us, if you're leading people, for those who are sitting under leadership and are called to follow the vision that's been cast, to do the work that's been put out, anything that's worth doing is worth doing right. And as believers, anything we do should be done for God's glory. When we set out to do anything, I have to remind myself regularly, okay, is what you're doing right now, is it for God's glory? Is it for the glory of the church you work for? Is it for your glory? Is it for, what's it for? I have to take a step back and say, well, what am I really doing this for? Is it really just to promote the name of our church, or to promote the name of our God? Now, for y'all, your business, what you do is to promote your business. With folks that know that you're believers is to promote God, essentially, first and foremost. And if that's what you're doing, and if everything you embark on, if we remember, anything worth being done is worth being done right. And if everything I do is done for the glory of God, then I'm gonna have success, whatever that looks like in my life. And success may look different. Success when it comes to God's success and for God's glory may look different than what we think. But that's okay, because if we're doing it for God, it doesn't matter what we think it should look like. It really only matters what God is desiring for it to look like. But something to think about, when we go throughout our day. Are we the jobs we take, the tasks that we do, are we having a mindset of, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right? Or are we having a mindset of, I'm gonna check this box off and then I'm gonna move on? I think we need more people that are in it to do it right than more people that are in it to check off a box. So, that's what I've got.
Comments? Thoughts? We have a phrase around here that the broker who discovered us and encouraged us to franchise our company, his name is Chris Goethe. He introduced us to a phrase, give them the pickle. And when you go to a nicer sandwich shop, you get a pickle.
Yeah.
And I love pickles.
Pickle spear. We're talking
Yeah.
about, right? Yeah.
But you get a pickle on the side of the sandwich. I've never had a pickle offered to me when I've ordered a Big Mac or an Arby's or a burger, a Whopper. But a nice sandwich shop, they offer you the pickle. And in our culture as a company, we give the customer the pickle, even if the customer doesn't know they were given the pickle. So that's something that popped into my head.
Just trying to go above and beyond
Yeah.
doing something like you've never had to pay for that, or there's never been on the menu, do you want a pickle for your side or anything like that? It's something that you just get out of completing, it's kind of completing the task at hand or the look, but
Yeah, I wrote down,
it's extra.
do I have the mindset to do it right or just checking off boxes? That would be good. Because we can fall into that place of just checking off boxes. In fact, we actually have a document. It's an Adobe document, and when we do a property visit, there's checks by each one, but there's always going to be an opportunity to do it with excellence and to do it right. And the client may never even know, or they may discover it much later. These two ladies got bragged on big time yesterday. We had a business owner meet with our team yesterday, and he wants to hand off dozens of clients for us to be available to put the fires out. And he has these housekeeping companies, and he has to go behind them and check their work. And Justin, right, is his name? Justin asked our team, how often do you have to go behind the housekeepers? Was it Victoria who said never?
Right.
Never. And his jaw dropped. These are private companies that work for his company, and he has to go behind them because their work is substandard. And Victoria said she never has to go behind these two ladies because they work at such a high level of excellence. And we hear that all the time from clients who onboard our company, that they just are ready to fire their housekeepers because they are just, maybe they're not even checking off the boxes. And at the end of the day, for us, it's about bringing glory to God and to work as unto Him, because He keeps careful records. He's a relational God, but He also he's a better accountant than I am. And that always drives me to do the best that I possibly can, because I know I'm representing my Heavenly Father. This was good, man.
my dad used to say, and he probably still would today, but the way that I was raised, listening to him, he always would say, you never have to do it twice if you do it right the first time. And that, I mean, that was a lot of pressure to live up under, but at the same time, it made you slow down enough to think through
Yeah.
what you were doing so that you weren't having to go back and do it again. And I can remember many times where he'd come in, of course, military and all that, he'd come in and take all the dishes that we had just washed, because we didn't have a dishwasher, take all of them and put them right back on the other side of the sink and say, do them again. And it was that kind of thing was do it right the first time and you don't have to do it twice. But anyway, so consequently, I grew up being the person that had to straighten all the fringe on the carpeting, to the point to where I got tired of doing that, so I just cut it all off. And I mean, just like seeing the detail of everything and God's sense of humor. Of course, we start a company that it's all about taking care of other people's stuff. So,
Y'all ever heard the phrase, the devil is in the details?
I was just thinking,
If you study that phrase, that is a ripped off phrase. The phrase actually started that God is in the details. And I don't know how the devil got credit for being in the details, but go study it. And I just heard a song on the message in the last 4 or 5 days. And there's a lyric in the song that says that God is in the details. And that makes a whole lot more sense to me. But anyway,
I'm thankful for it when he's looking at my life, because he doesn't miss anything. And that's great. Even when I do, he doesn't.
so did you say something about the meeting last night? You hope there's not another one like it? Or did you?
well, I hope it's our last preparation meeting,
Oh,
and now any future ones are part of the process meetings. Yeah. 'Cause we're
going
in a
from
lot
the
of
dream to the
preparation.
execution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
You're talking about doing things right the first time. Not only you take pride in what you do, but my kids are watching me and they mimic. Same reason my son decided he needed to tip Subway with my card. Yeah. So there's lots of reasons.
Yeah.
Caleb, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
We appreciate it, and we would like to reserve the right to have you back in the future.
I'll pray about it. I would love to, as long as you're here.
Good.
We miss Victoria and Brett. So I'll upload this to YouTube on my channel just so you can watch it easier. But why don't you lead us in prayer?
Will do. God, we thank you for another day you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity just to be able to gather together and talk about you this morning, and talk about your ministry here, Property Stewards, in this community, and just how you continue to open doors and opportunities, rewarding their commitment to honoring you and what they do, and making sure that everything they do is for your glory first. And pray that you continue to do that you would bless this this business, this group of people. I pray that you provide safety for them as they go out each day, provide opportunities for conversations to happen to point to you, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, God, is that it's pointed to you and not to each one of us. Help us in everything we do to be done for your glory, that even if it takes a little bit longer for preparation. Help us to be patient in the process. So that way, in the end, we can do it right to honor you and not sloppily just to check a box off, God. We thank you for your son, Jesus, for his sacrifice on the cross for us. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Do you know who Morgan Spurlock is?
Who?
Morgan Spurlock.
Never met her.
Okay, never heard of her.
Mm-mm.
It's a he.
No, never heard of her.
Morgan Spurlock.
Yes,